Are you tired of streaming to 0 viewers on Twitch? Today we're going to talk about 5 mistakes that small streamers make that could be hurting your viewership levels.
But first, make sure you check out our Twitch channel. You can find us at the link below. We stream every Monday, Wednesday, and Saturday. And also check out our Discord, which we will also link to below.
So we have been streaming for the last year on Twitch and have done a lot of testing and research to find out what works and what doesn't work. Today we're going to cover 5 things or 5 mistakes that Twitch streamers make that could be hurting your stream. So number 1, consistent schedule. Consistency is so important. You want to make sure that you're not just doing the I'll stream whenever I feel like it or whenever I have time, that you actually have an established schedule that you post on Twitch or in your Discord so viewers know when to expect you. Think about a TV show. If this was Westworld, you wouldn't expect them to come on whenever they feel like it. You expect them to come on a certain day of the week at a certain time, and you know what to expect when that comes on. So it's very important, in order for your viewers to know when you're going to be live, that you have that schedule.
The second greatest mistake is buying the latest and greatest hardware. There are some key hardware items that you do definitely want to make sure that you have, which we'll cover in a moment. But the topic here is the latest and greatest. Talking about cameras, for an example, there's a price point at which the quality will start to plateau and the cost will exponentially get higher. So definitely what you want to do is you want to make sure that you get a decent camera, for example, but it doesn't have to be a mirrorless SLR camera or anything like that.
Or the most expensive on the market.
Or the most expensive on the market. If you don't have a lot of money, definitely start with just an example of a webcam. Having any webcam, as long as you have something that you can put your face up there. Same with microphones. You don't necessarily need to have studio quality. Just make sure that you have something. As you get better later, as your streaming career progresses, then you can start to turn some of that money into reinvesting back into the stream. But you definitely want to make sure that you have some of those key components out of the way and get the cheapest ones to help just get it off the ground.
I think a lot of people see the big streamers or the streamers they watch with this like insanely costly equipment and think that they have to have that in order to stream, and it's just not true.
Yeah, I mean, it definitely does help, but it's not needed to get you started. And I think that's one of the biggest mistakes that a lot of beginning streamers make.
But speaking of webcams, let's talk about this for a moment, because the third biggest mistake that I think streamers make is not having a webcam. Now, I know a lot of you will say, well, I watch this streamer and they don't have a webcam, and that's probably true. They might be the exception to the rule. But the reality is, if you have a face cam, it allows your viewers to see you and it allows them to create a relationship with you. They're able to connect with you more because they see your face, they can see your facial expressions. It's so important. If I'm talking to somebody on the phone, it's not quite the same as like FaceTiming someone or talking to them over like a WebEx or a Teams chat or anything like that, because I can see their face, I can see how they're reacting, and I think a lot gets lost in translation when you don't have that piece of equipment available to you. I
definitely agree. Like, look at the time you can send a text message to someone and completely reads different, that they'll call you up and like, did you sound or whatever, and I think it's the same. The fourth biggest mistake a lot of streamers will make is playing the latest and greatest games. There are very popular games that come out that are waiting to come out, and a lot of people say, well, I'm going to play this game because somebody wants to watch it, and if I'm out there and I'm playing it, I'll be the next biggest thing. Unfortunately, that's not exactly how it always works. One of the biggest problems with that is there are established streamers out there that if they go and play that same game because they're a big streamer, they're going to get that attention. Looking at, for example, Ninja with Fortnite, if he plays a lot of Fortnite, he gets thousands of viewers. If some Cyberpunk 2077 came out and he decided to play that, he's going to take thousands of viewers with him in that category, and people are going to watch them. They will see those numbers under that streamer, and they'll be interested in watching that streamer. And there are people out there who want to go to the smaller streams and watch them. So if you do play a latest and greatest game, just know that there's a good possibility that your viewer levels may be lower than average, especially if you've already built a following in another game category.
Yeah, you might not get the return that you think you're going to get. And if you think about it, when you go to watch a game on Twitch, if there's 100 streamers streaming, do you keep scrolling? I usually choose one of the top 5.
Yeah, and part of that is too, like, the issue of there's no discoverability on Twitch. They don't have like YouTube does, where there's a very good recommendation. There are some recommendations, and the algorithm's kind of weird, but it's not as good as like YouTube, where it kind of knows what you're thinking or knows what you're looking for and can make a great recommendation. Twitch is almost like hey, you pick a new game, and here's all the people that are streaming it in order. And if you start a stream playing the latest and greatest game, then you're gonna be like way down that list, because when you first start, you have 0, and the person at the top, Ninja in this example, could have thousands already. The next biggest person who's playing the latest and greatest game, a couple hundred, maybe even a couple thousand, and they're just gonna have to go down that list so far. So,
and you should never be streaming to 0 viewers, so we might cover that in a future video. All right, our last and most, I think, critical mistake that streamers make is not talking. When you're playing a game and you just sit there in silence and play the game, imagine somebody pops into your chat to see what's going on, and they just see you sitting there playing. They're not going to stick around. They're going to pop in and they're going to pop out. You always want to be talking, even if there's nobody in your chat talking to you.
Yeah.
So and this is harder to do, I will acknowledge, than you probably think it is. So there's a couple ways you can approach this. You can just narrate the game, talk about, this is what I'm doing, here's some of the goals, here's what I'm thinking, this is why I'm making this decision. Don't do the, now I'm walking to the left, now I'm walking to the right. It's, I'm going to this area because I'm looking for this is the quest I'm doing. Or you can take talking points that maybe relate to the game category you're in. So let's say that you are playing Alien Isolation. This is a good time to start talking about aliens. If people are in your stream, they might like aliens. So you don't want to wait for people to come in and engage with you. Bring up a subject, start answering it, and let people weigh in on it. Do you think aliens are real? I think they're real because I've seen this, this, and this, or, did you see that documentary on aliens? There's a lot of people who have seen it. You want to keep the conversation going. It's monologuing. That's really what it is, and it does take practice.
Yeah.
So every stream, you just gotta try to do it a little bit more. I think we're very lucky because there's 2 of us, so we can kind of banter back and forth, but you definitely want to keep that silence filled. Don't let it linger out there because nobody wants to come into a stream where nobody's talking.
Yeah, and also one of the things that Keep Talking will do, and I think you kind of touch on it, is when we're talking about the face cam and building that relationship and that feeling with, your viewers can build that with you. When you have where you keep talking with them, it'll help build that relationship and foster that relationship. They learn more about you because you're talking and saying, like, what do you feel about aliens? And when they answer, and you start to learn about them, and you can start to really build a community that way. I watched a streamer one time. They were playing Grand Theft Auto, and I remember going in there, and they weren't even playing the game. They were actually just looking at their phone, and it looked like they were text messaging someone. And it was like, even if I tried as the viewer to talk with them, it ended there because they weren't even paying attention to chat. So you definitely have to keep talking with your viewers, or talking not at your viewers, but like you said,
talk to yourself.
Narrate what's going on. And I agree with you. Don't do that. I'm walking here, I'm doing this. I can see that as a viewer by watching the screen. Tell me the stuff that I don't know. Why are you doing, like you said?
Yeah, or if you have tips and tricks about the game, share them.
Yeah.
So those are the biggest mistakes that we have seen and that we've even made over the last year. But I'd like to know, what changes are you going to make on your stream based on this information today? We are going to have a lot more videos coming out with some Twitch tips and tricks and ways to improve your stream so that you can be a successful streamer. And please, like Jay said, come visit our stream. We are always doing something different because we do test a lot of things to see what works so that we can share that information with others. It's kind of a passion of ours to be able to help and support small streamers. So we're always doing something different on our stream.
Yeah, come on, hang out and talk to us about whatever you got going on. If you have questions, we're happy to answer.
Yes, that is true. All right, guys, we'll catch you in the next video. Bye.
Bye.